5 essential Instagram Reel must-haves. Your first suggestion.
Using words your community uses. You might be using verbiage that they would never use because they don't even know it yet. It's like you got to dumb it down in a sense. And I say this to my husband all the time. He's a doctor. Like, I'll be like, oh, this hurts. And he'll be like, and then he'll tell me the exact bone or whatever it is. And I'm like, stupefy it for me. Like, make it stupid so I know what you're talking about.
In regards to marketing, you have to kind of write in the aspect of a fifth grader so that it's very easy for most people to comprehend.
Think about the words that your community uses, and that's what you need to be putting on your videos.
Today we're discussing 5 essential IG Reel must-haves for you to have a successful reel. And I thought no better than to bring the IG Reels coach herself, Brittany Butler, on to join this conversation with me. I just said off at the top, one of the things that I look at Reels is it's kind of like a commercial. It gets you awareness. You know, that's what a commercial is. It's supposed to sell you on a product or a service, but you got to get that awareness. And some of the best commercials, they do certain things right. Some of those things we might actually relate to Reels, so we're going to get into that today. I have a few questions for you, Brittany. And my first one is, it might seem like a simple question, but I think people have to be reminded of it. And that's, what are the benefits of having IG Reels as part of a content strategy?
You kind of hit the nail on the head when you said it's a commercial and builds awareness. So Reels are one of the top, if you think about a funnel, a marketing funnel, they're one of the top categories or top pieces of content that we can create for the top of the funnel. And this is how we build awareness of our brand, our business, reach new audiences because there are so many places that Reels are featured on. And that brings them in. And the rest of our content and how we post on Instagram and show up through the different features is how we nurture them and take them through that funnel to eventually get them to that sales page.
I'm glad you mentioned the whole funnels aspect, because once again, as business owners and content creators, we don't sometimes we forget about that. We look at the numbers, the vanity numbers, and we forget about the funnel. But you're absolutely right. It's at the top of the funnel because it gets their attention, and you start bringing in these target audience members more deeper into that funnel. So I love the fact that you said that. It's the beginning of a relationship.
Right. Yes,
with
for
your potential customers. And I think that's something that we actually always have to keep in mind when we're considering Reels, because we want to make sure that we're aiming for that target audience as well, not just some of those that might like the Reel, but not really invest in our content and our product and service. Now, when we are creating Reels, sometimes we forget about certain things like that, and we focus on things maybe we shouldn't. So I wanted to know, what are some of the common mistakes that you might happen to come across almost on a daily from people that create Reels?
I think, just a couple of them. First and foremost, I'll say that most people don't have an idea of what they're trying to portray when they create their Reel. A lot of times they're just grabbing an audio that is funny or they like, and then they're just posting it. But there's no strategy behind it, and they're just pushing out content constantly because that's what they're told to do. But instead, if you take a step back and you actually focus on a strategy and who you're trying to attract with that content, you can post less and get more reach and more ROI at the end of the day. So that's the number one. And then I think the second one, it's really just a simple tweak that a lot of people don't think about, is you need text on your Reels. Most people are scrolling and it's a really fast, and they don't even hear the audio you're using. So if you don't have text on the screen that grabs the attention, so a hook, if you don't know what that is the text at the very beginning of a Reel. That's what hooks people's attentions in so they can continue to watch, go to that caption, get the comment section open, and then hopefully click on your profile.
I think that text is one that I actually had on my list, because that's something that I absolutely see so much on when I'm just scrolling. That you said, sometimes you're going so fast, you're not really paying attention. You're kind of waiting for the hook or something like that. And one of the other things that I've come across, and I am not going to lie, I have been a victim of this myself. I've done it myself, is bad audio and video. Sometimes we can't help it. I know maybe it's out of our control. It's the way Instagram may have uploaded our video. But we have to do our best sometimes to actually put our best foot forward and actually create high quality audio and video. I think sometimes people they're so focused on the story or what they're trying to capture that we sometimes forget about the quality of that actual message that we're putting out forward in regards to Reels. Now that we have some of those mistakes out of the way, I want to kind of get into what everybody I know is hoping to get out of this conversation, and there are also 5 essential Instagram Reel must-haves. You being my guest, please go ahead and lead off first with your first suggestion that all IG Reels should have to be successful.
I would say number one is using words your community uses. As you're the expert of your domain and your industry, you might be using verbiage that they would never use because they don't even know it yet. Because you have to think they're day ones. And if you're using words that are just too big for them, it's like you got to dumb it down in a sense. And I say this to my husband all the time. He's a doctor. Like, I'll be like, oh, this hurts. And he'll be like, and then he'll tell me the exact bone or whatever it is. And I'm like, stupefy it for me. Like, make it stupid. So I know what you're talking about. And you have to think about that too. Think about the words that your community uses, and that's what you need to be putting on your videos.
In regards to marketing, you have to kind of write in the aspect of a 5th grader, so that it's very easy for most people to comprehend, and that even if you give it to a 4th or 5th grader, they're not too distracted by certain key words that they come across, and they easily understand it without having to focus so much on the message. They just easily grasp it.
The 5th grader can understand it, you're probably doing
good. Yeah, absolutely. One of my suggestions in regards to 5 essential IG must-haves is a hook. Now, I think so many people hear the word hook and they immediately think of a concept, but I think that's great. That's one way of doing it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be just a concept. It could be something textually. You mentioned that text should be on the screen. You could grab somebody's attention immediately by certain words, power words that we put on the screen within the first few seconds of a reel. But you could also do it visually in regards to the imagery that you're presenting, whether it's a transition. Transitions are amazing ways to capture somebody's attention for just an extra few seconds. I think that's something that we have to pay attention to as well and incorporate in our reels, our hooks. Brittany, you have the next one. What's your next suggestion?
Keywords in your captions. Instagram is SEO optimizing, and people, when they create their reels, a lot of times I'm seeing as I scroll that they're just using some emojis or just a few words or whatever when they're putting it out there. Yeah, we can do that sometimes and make shorter captions, but you have to understand that Instagram takes into consideration every word that is in your caption, and that's one of the things that they use to kind of make the algorithm understand who that content is for and who will be most interested in it. Instagram's an interest-based app, so you have to make sure that when you are writing your caption out, there are words in there that your audience would be searching for on Instagram. And that also means, yes, use hashtags. Don't not use hashtags. Let's double negative that, because hashtags are keywords as well. And while they may not help you get millions of views, they will help the algorithm determine whose explore pages your content should be on. That's a big thing. Use those captions wisely. Yeah,
this is big debate on Instagram right now about hashtags, should you and shouldn't you. And I am glad that you mentioned that the words that you use are important. I started practicing this, and I would like to throw it at you. I want to know what you think about this concept. I make sure that I try to use as many words that I put in the text of my reel, I put in my caption as well. I have this weird feeling that Instagram scans the text that you put in reels, and if you duplicate that in your actual message, I know YouTube does this. YouTube is notorious for this. If you use certain words at the beginning of your video and it's in the caption, it almost helps it out a lot more. Do you think that they're actually doing that, or there's a potential?
I think there's potential for it. I can't say that they for sure do it because the head of Instagram hasn't come out to say anything about scanning that. They're working on so many things that's probably in the works and a hope. But we have to think Reels was released 2 years sooner than they were projecting to release it. As soon as they caught wind that TikTok was being removed in the United States, they were 2 years out from launching, and they were only beta testing in Brazil. And it was like a couple weeks later, all of a sudden Reels was released to the United States and Canada. So there are a lot of things that are eventually going to happen with Reels. As we can see, it just keeps getting better and better and better. So that's probably in the works, but it may not have happened yet. Or if it has, the head of Instagram hasn't made that transparent yet to everybody.
Well, we'll see what the future what the future consists of as well, which leads me to my fourth suggestion in regards to 5 essentials that Instagram Reels must have. And my fourth one is I'm going to use CTA. I got to mention the CTA, call to action, for those that might not be aware of that. As you stated, I got to break down the lingo. Call to actions are certain requests that you as a content creator suggest to the person viewing your reel to make. Because what we sometimes forget is we assume that the person is going to take an action without actually asking them to take that action. And that is a big no-no. We have to sometimes double it. If you have to repeat the CTA twice within your reel, say it in the text that's on the screen as well as in the caption, it helps reinforce that message so that when you tell them, hey, leave a comment or comment this word for a certain lead magnet or something along those lines, they're more inclined to actually do that because you've doubled down the message a few times. What will most likely happen is the majority of people that watch Reels, they're viewing it through the Reels tab and they're just going by. They're going by. If you don't catch their attention and ask them to take an action, they're just going to keep on scrolling. So you want to make sure that you actually tell them they need to do something that you hope would benefit your content. Well, we got one more on our list of 5 essential Instagram Reels must-have essentials. I'm going to let you take this one as my special guest. What was the last thing that you would suggest for us to use for our Reels to be successful?
A ring light. I just want to make it as simple as possible. They're on Amazon. You can get them for like 25 bucks. It makes the biggest difference with your content. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, it's a no-brainer, but some people don't realize that the big difference. And I do this a lot on my lives where people ask, you know, like, why is it so bright and stuff? But we can just see the difference a ring light makes in your content, and that makes it more visually appealing and gets people to stop the scroll. And I do notice that on my Explore page. So there's not that not everybody has you know, a lighting system. And you don't have to get extravagant. You can get just one of those little ones. You can even get the ones that like clip on top of your phone, but that little investment is going to make a huge difference.
It ups the quality. Nobody wants to see a reel of you in the dark. I mean, unless that's part of the concept of the story. I don't know.
True.
That might be part of the concept. But if you have bad lighting, that's an easy turnoff, because if somebody has to kind of work hard to see what you're trying to present, they're just going to keep on scrolling. They're not even going to waste any time with that. So there you guys go. Those are 5 essential Instagram Reel must-haves for you to go ahead and put forward in your next set of content. Yeah. So I hope you guys got all of that and move forward with them in regards to creating better Instagram Reels, because we all know Instagram is all about Reels. The new year is coming, and I have a strong prediction that Adam Mosseri is going to get on his soapbox and state we're doubling down on Instagram Reels. We want to make sure that you guys are prepared and putting out your best foot forward in regards to Instagram Reels. So like I always like to state, please take our suggestions, our advice, move forward with them in the best way it will benefit your content, your business, and step your gram up.